Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely crucial for understanding how money actually moves in the world, stimulating capital. Specifically, we're looking at how public expenditure and private investment work hand in hand. You can consider this your ultimate investment advisor guide to the big picture. We so often think of private businesses and independent entrepreneurs as these lone wolf engines of wealth creation. But let's be real, they absolutely do not operate in a vacuum. Today, we're unpacking how macro-level government forces, specifically how the public spends its money, actually shape the microeconomic opportunities for private businesses all around us. It's a fascinating dynamic, and honestly, it's going to completely change how you view a functioning economy. So think about this for a second. Why do producers actually take the risk to invest in the first place? I mean, think of the global economy as this massive, highly intricate engine. It needs very specific, optimized conditions to run efficiently, right? Otherwise, anyone putting their own hard-earned capital on the line is essentially just throwing their money into a void. It is completely irrational to take a massive financial risk without a secure foundation beneath you. Okay, let's dive into this and see exactly how governments actually step in to create those optimized conditions that stimulate private capital. Here is our blueprint for today. We're going to cover four things. 1. The Law and Order Foundation. 2. Human capital overheads. 3. Economic infrastructure. And 4. Financial assistance. Yup, 4. That number is your structural blueprint today. We're going to construct a metaphorical macroeconomic skyscraper right from the ground up, using 4 specific strategic pillars of investment motivation. Because every single savvy private producer out there, whether we're talking about a local farmer, a mid-sized tech startup, or some major corporate industrialist, they all inherently look for these 4 pillars before they even think about risking their capital. Each layer literally has to be carefully laid down by the public sector for the whole structure to hold up and attract serious long-term private investment. But before we build those pillars, let's quickly establish a core definition so we're all on the same page. Public expenditure refers to the expenses incurred by public authorities, so your local, state, or central governments, for their own maintenance, for meeting collective needs, and for promoting overarching economic and social welfare. Now, the absolute key takeaway here is that this completely reframes how we think about government spending. It is not just a sunk cost. It's not just money flying out the door never to be seen again. When executed effectively, public expenditure acts as a vital catalyst. It's like priming a pump. It actively creates the very conditions necessary for private investment to take root, thrive, and ultimately multiply across the economy. All right, let's start at the ground floor with Pillar 1, the Law and Order Foundation. This is the absolute bedrock of our economic structure. It's the most fundamental requirement for any producer anywhere in the world. Just imagine for a second operating the business in a chaotic environment without reliable rules, predictability, or basic physical safety. You are going to face massive hesitation to invest. I mean, why on earth would you spend millions building a state-of-the-art factory if you can't guarantee its physical security, or the enforcement of your contracts, or even the safe transit of your goods? You wouldn't. Conversely, when public expenditure is directed toward maintaining law and order, it fundamentally alters the psychology of the entire market. It replaces fear with structural certainty. Our source material hits the nail on the head here. Government spending on maintaining law and order creates essential confidence in the minds of the people, directly encouraging them to actually undertake investment. Without this baseline of stability and protected property rights, the rest of the economic engine simply cannot start. Let's move on and see how this builds with Pillar 2, human capital overheads. So, we've gone from basic safety to the actual people who powered the economy. Our source text points out that public expenditure can be directly used to create social overheads in the form of human capital. Let's break that terminology down a bit, because the what's in it for me factor is absolutely huge here. Social overheads in this context translates directly to the government investing in its citizens. It means spending on things like education, training, medical services, and sanitation. Now, why does this matter so much to a private business? Well, human capital is incredibly expensive and time-consuming to develop from scratch. A private company can't realistically build an entire educational system or healthcare network just to staff one single factory. By funding these areas, the state significantly increases the productive efficiency of the general population. A healthier, more educated workforce is a massive draw for any private producer looking to set up shop, because they immediately gain access to highly capable, skilled human capital to drive their business forward. Next up is Pillar 3. Economic infrastructure. If Pillar 2 was all about developing the people, Pillar 3 is about stepping right into the shoes of the private producer and looking for the physical framework to actually build their business upon. When a producer scopes out a location, they are looking for tangible economic overheads. We're talking power, irrigation, transport, and communication. Imagine trying to run a modern manufacturing plant without a reliable electricity grid, or trying to export agricultural goods without irrigation, decent paved roads, or a working communications network. It's practically impossible. And here's the thing. These are massive macro projects. A single private farmer cannot build a national highway system. A single factory owner isn't going to build a regional hydroelectric dam. The source data specifically points out that the creation and maintenance of these economic overheads by the government acts as a primary motivator for producers to undertake investment. By taking on the massive initial capital burdens to lay down this heavy physical infrastructure, the government completely paves the way for sweeping, profitable developments in both industry and agriculture.
And that brings us to our final stop, Pillar 4, Financial Assistance.
We have officially arrived at the top floor of our metaphorical skyscraper. This is the final, most direct pillar where the government steps in to actively furnish the project and offset private risk. Let's look at how this works in practice, because our source material gives a fantastic real-world example regarding India's agricultural boost. The text details how the provision of subsidized fertilizers and electricity directly stimulated private sector investment and development in agriculture. So instead of just creating a broad, passive environment for investment, financial assistance means the government is directly intervening. We're talking subsidies, tax breaks, and direct financial help to the private sector. By artificially lowering the cost of essential inputs, like, say, fertilizer and power for a farmer, the government dramatically reduces the risk profile of the investment. It literally makes the math work favorably for the producer from day one, and that accelerates development in key sectors that might otherwise really struggle to attract private capital on their own. So all of this brings us to a final question for you. Which pillar is your government investing in today? Are they reinforcing the law and order foundation, building up human capital, laying down economic infrastructure, or maybe providing direct financial assistance? Understanding these 4 pillars completely changes how you look at the news, national budgets, and the economy humming along right outside your window. It shows us exactly how public expenditure serves as the vital spark for private investment. Take a look at your own local economy's foundation this week and see which of these building blocks is driving the growth in your own backyard. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the structures around you.